guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a first impressions on the Covergirl Ready Set Gorgeous foundation. A really quick reminder before we get started, if there's a foundation you want to see me test out, make sure you are checking the description bar down below before you request it. I'm just still constantly getting requests for foundations that I've already tested out. Like on a video recently, someone requested that I try the Milani 2-in-1, and that comment had like a ton of thumbs up, and it's already linked in the description bar down below. I always have all of my past foundation reviews linked down below there to make it easy for you guys, so please check that out and utilize it. As always, I want to let you guys know a little bit about this product before I get started with applying it. It is $7.99 on the Ulta website. I honestly don't remember how much I paid for it. You get the 1 fluid ounce, just standard size, and it comes in a very simple and practical tube kind of packaging. It is available in 12 different shades. If you've been around my channel for a while, you may recall I actually bought this quite a few months ago. I have the lightest shade, which is 105. It's going to be a bit too light for me now because I have a little bit of a tan. The shade's going to be a little bit light for me. I'm fully aware of that because I did not buy it to match my current skin tone. I bought it to match my regular non-tanned, non-summer skin tone. So yeah, it's 105 Classic Ivory for those of you wondering. This foundation is supposed to have a natural finish and give a medium coverage. It's oil-free, won't clog your pores, and it's supposed to cover imperfections and even out your skin tone and give a natural, flawless finish that is going to last all day. They say that this product is suitable for sensitive skin, and it's supposed to have a built-in powder system which is supposed to fight against oil, shine, and sweat. For application, they say to apply it with either a sponge or your fingers. I think I'm going to do half of my face with my fingers and then half with like a foundation brush, because I've seen other people apply this with like a round top brush and it seems to work really well. So now that we know everything we need to know about this foundation, I'm going to clip my hair back and we're going to get started with the application. So I've already gone ahead and primed the left half of my face using my Tarte Clean Slate Flawless Brightening Primer. This is silicone free, and like I said, I'm going to do half my face with the Luxie round top blender brush. I've just seen people have really good experiences with this style of brush, and then the other half with my fingers. So I squeeze a little bit onto the back of my hand, and it looks to be just like a standard liquid consistency, not too runny but not too thick either. So I'm going to start using it with my round top brush on this side of my face first. As I mentioned, it's going to be a bit too light. I'd way rather have a foundation that's too light though, because it's really easy to fix with bronzer and everything, than a foundation that's too dark. Tiniest bit streaky with the brush, but it's not too bad. It applied very quickly and it blended out very well. Aside from that tiny little bit of streakiness, I found just going in a downward motion helped rather than kind of using circular buffing motions. It's not doing the best job with this initial coat covering my acne scarring and like hyperpigmentation and everything, but it is a medium coverage, so I think for a medium coverage level it is doing fairly good. I'm gonna go ahead and try applying the other side with my fingers. Okay, so with my fingers, it was definitely less streaky than it was with the brush. I feel like I did get a little bit better coverage on this side though, because the brush kind of spread it around a little bit better. It kind of like stuck to my fingers a little bit more and didn't blend out as much. But I think overall the side applied with my fingers looks a lot more smooth and even. Ooh, looking a little bit closer though, it's kind of doing something really weird where it's like sitting in my little bits of acne scarring that I have in here. Like I have a little bit of like minor textural acne scarring, and it's just kind of like sitting in there. That's really weird. I wonder if that's a reaction to the primer, because it did not do that on this side. It really doesn't look good in this area. It's just like sitting in any little bits of like pitting and stuff like that. I'll do a close-up and show you guys what I'm talking about. Do you guys see what I mean there? How it's just kind of like sitting. There's like little like dots of product sitting where I have texture on my skin, and it didn't do that on this side of my face. But as always though, I'm going to do a little bit more product just to see how it builds, because I do like a little bit more coverage than this, and for those of you who want even more coverage than I do, that way you can see how it builds up. Okay, now that I'm blending out my fingers on this side of my face, it's doing the same thing on my scarring in here. It's just kind of like sitting. I think my fingers are just kind of like pressing it in to that scarring and not like evenly distributing it. I don't know, it's weird. I think I have to go back to the brush. Even though it was a tiny bit streaky, I'm gonna try and blend that out and see if it helps. Okay, so using the brush definitely helped blend that out. What I would say for application is that if you want a little bit more coverage and you have like texture and like scarring and things like that, I would say go for a brush like this. You're just going to have to do a little bit extra work blending it to get rid of any patchiness, and I would recommend going in like even downward strokes. If you want a little bit lighter coverage and you don't really have issues with texture, then applying it with your fingers is completely fine. So just to clear up that weird kind of like bunching of the product in my acne scarring was not a result of the primer, because it did it on this side of my face as well. It was just a result of applying it with my fingers. So overall, I'm thinking it looks pretty good. At this point, I would say it has more of a luminous finish than a natural finish. It is quite glowy, but that's what I personally want for the summer. And while it is more luminous, it's not overly greasy or oily looking or anything, and it's not drawing too much attention to texture aside from those couple issues I had, but I was able to pretty much fix that with the brush. It's not like masking noticeable pores or texture or anything like that, but it's also not drawing extra attention to it at the same time. It did build up really nicely, and I think it has a really good amount of coverage for a medium coverage foundation. Like I said, it's a little bit too light for me, but once I had bronzer and everything, it's not going to be a big deal. The only thing is that it is looking a little bit cakey just on my upper lip, but aside from that, I'm pretty happy with the result. I was thinking it might dry to more of a powder finish because it does say it has like a built-in powder system. Right now it's almost dry, it's still like a little bit tacky, but the areas that are more dry don't really feel powdery, but I'll update you guys on that in a second. I'm gonna do my close-up of what it's looking like now, then I'm gonna go ahead and finish off my face makeup, and I will talk to you guys momentarily. Also, before we get into the close-up, just excuse my dry lips. They're getting very dry from Accutane, and I know they don't look good. So I finished off my base makeup, and this is what it's looking like. I used the Maybelline Fit Me Concealer and then the Cover FX Illuminating Setting Powder. I have to say I'm quite liking it so far. After trying the Covergirl 3-in-1 foundation a few weeks ago, I'm kind of like, Covergirl. Foundations are pretty good. So as I was doing my eyebrows and everything, the foundation set down really nicely and dried on its own. It did not dry to like a powdery finish at all. Like I was saying, I thought it might be like a liquid to powder foundation because of some of the claims they make, but it still retained a really nice natural glow, and I feel like even set with powder too, it still looks really glowy and fresh on my face. It's not heavy at all either. It's quite lightweight, and it just feels really nice on my skin. Remember that it is oil free too, so that's really nice. I had to do a little bit of experimenting with the application, and it did require a little bit of extra blending. So aside from that tiny little glitch and then the fact that the shade's a little bit too light, I'm really quite pleased with it so far. The coverage is really good once again. Like, it covered up hyperpigmentation and everything really well, and just generally evened out my skin tone. I'm just really pleased with the finish. This is just honestly kind of my ideal finish, especially in the summertime. But I think that's all I have to say for now. It was around 1 o'clock when I started applying this foundation, so I'm going to do another close-up, and you guys know the drill. I'm gonna finish off my makeup, do a close-up, do check-ins throughout the day and everything like that. It's 7:30, so I've had this foundation on for about 6.5 hours. So far, I have to say I'm still really liking this foundation. There are a couple of minor issues I'm having, but overall I think it still looks really good. The couple of problems I am having is it has gotten a little bit creasy in here where I have like smile lines and things like that. Also, I did recently break out just a couple little small breakouts on my chin, and they're in that kind of phase where they're mostly healed, but there's still kind of that like thin layer of like dry dead skin over top of them. If you have acne, you'll know what I mean. But this foundation is really kind of clinging to those little dry patches. Like where I have them, it looks considerably lighter than the rest of my face. I'll do another close-up, so hopefully you guys can see what I mean. So that might not be the best if you have a lot of active breakouts or like breakouts that are in the process of healing. And the last thing is that it's getting like minorly oily just on my forehead and nose. Like it feels a little bit sticky, even though earlier it had completely set. And as I'm sure you can tell, it's just a little bit extra shiny in those areas, but But yeah, those are just some minor things. They're not a huge deal to me. If my acne was still worse and I still had like breakouts all over my cheeks like I did earlier in the year, then I probably would not be liking this as much, just because like I said, it is clinging to those little dry patches. But all in all, I have to say I am a fan of this product so far. I think it just looks very fresh faced and natural and glowy, and it has a really good amount of coverage. I can see myself really liking this for summer, and I like that it's really affordable too, because I can easily go out and pick up a shade that's a little bit darker and will match me a little bit better over the next little while. So yeah, once again, I'm just going to do another quick close-up and I'll check in with you guys at the end of the day. One thing that has been happening to me with every foundation lately is that I sweat it off on my upper lip and it ends up looking like I have a freaking mustache. Like, I know you guys are seeing this. It's awful, and I don't know why. That's like the one place on my face that I actively remove my hair and everything, and it looks like I have a mustache. Like, there's no hair there at all, but that's really annoying me lately. Even with Kat Von D, it's been doing that. So if you guys have any tips for that, then let me know. So that's not a fault of this foundation. That's literally been happening to me with everything. But anyways, it's midnight, so I've had this foundation on for about 11 hours. And I have to say, I really like it. I'm not going to do pros and cons today because honestly, I don't really have that many cons about it. I put this foundation to the ultimate test. I went to the hot springs for a few hours. It was raining, and I think it has held up extremely well. It's worn off a little bit on my nose and a little bit on my hairline because my hair got a little bit like wet right in here, but aside from that and the whole mustache thing, it looks really good. I think it still looks really nice and flawless and glowy. The application was a little bit tricky at first, and that I found it did require a little bit of extra blending compared to some other foundations, but that's not a big deal to me at all, honestly. And I just really like the finish. This is really my ideal finish. It's natural, but a little bit luminous and a little bit glowy without drawing attention to pores or texture or anything like that. I think my skin actually looks quite smooth despite the kind of more luminous finish. The coverage is really great. I might not have liked it as much when my skin was breaking out more, but now that my skin is clearing up and I mostly just have that flat kind of redness, I think it covered up extremely well, especially for being a more medium coverage foundation. It does once again feel a little bit oily in my T-zone, but it's extremely minor and I don't mind. Like, I don't touch up on first impression days, of course, but it would be an extremely easy fix with a little bit of powder or just a little bit of blotting and it would be good to go. In the areas where it does feel oily, it's not like it's separating or getting patchy or anything like that. The only cons I really have are the things I mentioned in my first check-in, that little bit of clinging to dry patches and the fact that it has gotten creasy around my mouth, but that's really minor. Like, you probably wouldn't notice it unless you're really close to my face and I like pointed it out to you, because I don't think you'll really be able to tell like looking at it now. And it does feel really lightweight. Like, I really don't feel like I have makeup on my face. I would say that if you're really oily, this might not be the best for you. It's probably better for like combo, normal, maybe dry skin, just because like I said, it did get a little bit shiny, a little bit oily in there. But I mean, it depends what you like. That's what these reviews are all about. Like, there might be something I absolutely hate about a foundation that you really like about a product. So yeah, overall, I'm extremely happy with this foundation. I think it's just really pretty and fresh and luminous and really nice looking, and it just held up so well too. I feel like it still looks really nice at the end of the day, which is always a great plus, and it is affordable once again. I think I'm actually probably going to pick up a darker shade in this for the summer because it's so cheap. I don't like buying my high-end foundations in like multiple shades because it gets so expensive, but I think I am going to pick up a darker shade in this because I am just really impressed with it. After trying the 3-in-1 foundation too, I'm really impressed with Covergirl. I am going to try their Clean Matte BB cream too once I get home from my vacations. So be sure to keep an eye out for that, but I am recommending this foundation. Definitely something I'm going to use throughout the summer, and I see why I've heard such great things about it. I think it's really lovely, to be honest. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button, you guys. It seriously helps me out. Check me out on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat. I am at Sarah Ran on all three, and hit subscribe down below if you haven't already. I do these foundation reviews all the time. Don't forget to check the description bar as well and check out all my past reviews. But I will talk to all of you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.